Yo, what's up, guys? It's your boy Looney, and today things are getting ugly. Crypto is falling hard, stocks are also bleeding, and the fear gauge is ticking up. So the question is this a bear trap, or are we truly heading into a bear market? I'm going to walk you through what I'm seeing, what I'm doing, and how I'm positioning, especially with one of my biggest plays. We're going to go over Mara as one of my stock plays. And I'm going to look at some cash secured puts and option plays and just overall DCAing. So what is happening right now? Because let's start with crypto. Let's start with Bitcoin. And we can see that Bitcoin has dropped pretty significantly. It is down today around 3%, and the past month down 14%. And since its highs back in October, almost 20% since its highs. So is this a top? And I would not say this is just a pullback. This is sort of a drop that you see when long-term holders start selling. And with this drop, it is dragging everything else with it. And that includes crypto, altcoins, meme coins, pretty much everything crypto related, even some of these stocks. So let's actually move on to stocks, because stocks struggled today as well. And risk on names like tech, growth, crypto linked stocks are also getting sold off hard. The broader market has volatility that is creeping up. And I look at the VIX, I mention it all the time, and we could see that VIX today was up pretty significant, up 12% at $22. That is above average, but it's not the highest we've seen the VIX. It can go all the way. There's pretty much no limit to the VIX, but anything over 30, that's extreme fear, and you want to be taking advantage of it. This at this price or this dollar amount, 22, it is a little bit higher than average, but it could definitely increase a lot more. And one of my stocks, Mara, is a crypto miner, is down. And if we actually look at Mara, so let's actually pull that up, because I opened up a bunch of trades on Mara, and its RSI is at one of its most historical lows. I'm pulled up the max chart. It looks like there's a lot of numbers and a lot of different graphs. There's not really much you need to pay attention to. The only thing you should be looking at is this RSI. It's at 23, and we can look on the max time frame. That is one of the lowest RSIs ever been. And if once we've seen that low of RSI, the returns on the stock have been really good. So that doesn't mean it's going to happen again, but it is worth noting that the RSI is super low. Now, why does Mara stand out to me? Because its MNAV or market NAV for its Bitcoin holdings, because it holds Bitcoin, is around $1.03 in one measure. So it is pretty much showing at the value of its Bitcoin holding. And that doesn't even include like its business or its business valuation. And also with that, I believe about 90% of institutions own this stock. So it is very heavily owned by institutions. And that's generally a good thing when you're doing investing. Now, this stock is very volatile. It can go super low. It can go all the way down to $6 if we're being completely honest, because it is a volatile stock. But myself, I'm taking advantage of this. I'm taking advantage of this opportunity of the MNAV being super low. And in my eyes, I'm looking at it as cheap, it's volatile, and it's also tied directly to Bitcoin's mood. So when crypto tanks, Mara also tanks. And when crypto recovers, Mara could kick back. Yes, Mara isn't as good or hasn't performed as good as Bitcoin, but when Bitcoin goes up, usually Mara follows as well. So my rule with actually investing in this company is selling puts. So when the price drops, especially on this stock, I'm selling cash secured puts below my average cost. My average cost is $16. That is pretty high, but I've actually made a lot of money from Mara just from selling options on selling calls and selling cash secured puts, that I essentially own these shares for free. But right now I am selling a bunch of cash secured puts. I have around 4,000 in cash secured puts alone, and I have it at the $10, $13. I'll probably get assigned at that $13, which I'm fine. I will then turn over and start selling covered calls, which works similar way, but basically you do it when the stock is showing overbought levels. And this is sort of a way of dollar cost averaging. I'm using different strike prices, different expirations, and you could dollar cost average. I also bought some shares that I just bought up outright. I bought like 10 shares. Not a big amount, but it is worth noting that I did do that. And if Mara continues to pull back, I'll continue to dollar cost average, either buying shares, buying calls, selling puts. I'll continue to invest. But I'm going to enter it slowly, strategically. I'm not going to go all in and try and time the bottom. So what else am I doing? Because we can go further. I am holding cash. Now, a lot of my cash is in options. Some of that options will turn into shares. Some of the options will expire worthless and I'll turn it back into cash. So it's hard to really explain what my cash position is, but I am holding cash, or I plan to build my cash position in case we go lower. And if we go lower, I'm not too concerned because I basically am okay with deploying my cash anyways, especially when volatility is high, the VIX is elevated, and that's when I'm able to deploy the cash. And I kind of have no choice when you're selling options because I have the strike prices, but I'd be okay with it. I'm comfortable with doing that. And these are the sort of conditions you want as an option seller. You should like the fear and just the overall cheap entry points. Now, I have HIMS that I'll probably get assigned. I also have Webull. Webull has been struggling massively recently, and I just started this position. We'll see where this heads. Right now it only takes up 3%, but I'll probably get assigned more shares. I have more cash card puts as well in this. So what is going on? Is it a bear trap? Is it a bear market? And really, to be honest, I don't know. And that's, if I did know, I would probably have $1 million if we're being completely honest. But also, I don't want to know. I don't want to, you don't want to be so convinced of something that you can't believe the other thing can't happen. So like, for example, if I thought this is a bear trap, I would go all in, buying call options, going super leverage. And then what if I'm wrong? Or I have that idea that I'm not going to be wrong, and the market likes to humble people. So it can be both, or in my eyes, I'm prepared for both. It could be a bear trap. If it is, I'll be able to take advantage of this. If it's a bear market, unfortunately, I'm gonna have to be patient and build up my cash and just continue to dollar cost average and build those long-term plays. I don't need the cash right now. And especially on the long-term investments, I don't need to sell off these shares. So there are signs of a potential bear market. The Bitcoin dropping and it is passing levels that signal a bear market. I believe like the 200-day moving average it's getting pretty close to, or it already passed, and it's dropped. It's dropped 20% since its highs. And also stocks tied to risk exposure are also falling off pretty hard. I didn't mention it before, but Iron, Palantir, these ones are also being sold off. Now, it could be the long-term holders in crypto are selling as well. Also, VIX is rising. But this could also be sort of a bear trap because when things feel this bad, the rebound can be sharp. We saw it back in April. And as an option seller, I could take advantage of this, of the volatility, and just overall dollar cost averaging. And if macro data and policy shift, risk sentiment can flip as well. So my take is I'm positioned for either way, either more downside. I'm ready to use that cash, but I'm also ready for a sharp bounce to the upside. So I'm not saying bear market done yet. I am saying I'm prepared for possibility of both. So yeah, we've seen the pain across crypto and stocks. I just went over Mara. It's one of my high volatility plays. I'm selling puts, dollar cost averaging, holding cash, and using these elevated fear and volatility to my advantage. If you're sitting in red today, you're not alone. The key is use the chaos. Don't chase, don't panic, position wisely. If this video helped you, drop a like, comment how your portfolio did today, and I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.